Before we get into today's episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Open Doors, Open Mind YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and on our other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook and now TikTok. Links to all will be in the description below. But without further ado, let's watch the episode.
Hey, Scott.
Hello, mate.
All right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Why are we talking like, what are those two people called? They were
You
comedians.
to me.
No, not the Chuckle Brothers. Hale and Pace. You know when they sat in front of each other? Is it Hale and Pace? And it was a black screen.
Yeah.
All right? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah,
Well.
What's been going on this week? Wow. That much?
I know. I had a very, 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 very bad day yesterday.
Talk me through it.
Just couldn't get a grip on my PTSD, no matter what the tools I'd given myself. Eventually, I got myself out of it where I'd normally have done it, and I say time-wise, I could have taken myself away. Just a lot of things mounted up yesterday, and I must have smoked myself quite a lot yesterday, cigarette-wise.
Okay.
Obviously, I took myself to the gym and did about 2 hours in there and felt it took the edge off it. Enough for me to kind of switch off, but it was bad yesterday.
And what are you today?
That's a good point. Obviously, this morning, the bonus part about for me, I had some very good conversations with certain people about Open Doors, Open Mind and sponsorships and growing it as a brand and helping more people. So sometimes when even if you're on low and you have good news, it kind of sets that on the right path for the day.
Do you reckon you're meant to suffer so you can help other people? Like you might be the catalyst. You might be ground zero. So every single time that things go wrong for you means that you learn something that you can go and tell someone else and they can learn from it.
Well, put it this way, I had someone last night, well, I'm still helping him this morning. He is not in a good place.
Worse than you, would you say?
He's further back on his journey than I was.
Right.
So
okay.
obviously when he's saying certain things, I'm like, no, mate, that's normal. I've been through that. And when he says about his kids don't want to do this and the breakups and his mental health and he's up and down. And I said, yeah, that's normal. But over periods of time, it gets easier. You can learn to manage it and the thoughts that you're having that you're not wanting to see your kids because of your ex and your mental health's not right. And this is, if you focus on one thing at a time, it does balance it out. That's from my experience. But I can tell the words he's saying is exactly the same thoughts or roughly around the same thing as where I was at certain points of my mental health journey. Like, no, mate, honestly, you're not crazy. That's normal. You're overthinking. You're looking at the life in a negative. Try and take the positive out of something. Like yesterday, it took me ages and ages and ages to find a positive latch to latch onto to pull myself back out again.
But you know there is a latch. There is a ledge.
I know
for you
that,
to
and it's just finding that one tool that can bring you.
But
back.
beforehand, you wouldn't have found that.
No, it's like education. Like he had a panic attack yesterday. I said, right. He said, I felt like I was going to die. I'm so scared of having another panic attack. And the simplest thing that worked for me was when somebody told me a panic attack can't last more than 25 minutes.
Then you know there's a way out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're not stuck in it forever. So his perpetual thinking, I'm really worried about having a panic attack, could also spur on having a panic attack.
And that's what it was
worrying.
doing for me. And that's what it was doing for him. He was now worried that he was going to be at work or with the kids. And I said, let me say one second. He's like, no. And I said, Google it. While we're messaging each other, Google it. He's like, it can't last more than 25 minutes. I was like, so 25 minutes out of a whole day, if you do have one, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't feel good at the time. It's quite a scary thing to go through, but you know there's going to be an end. It's not going to... I felt like when I had one, I had the ambulance out once because I thought I was having a heart attack, and it was actually a panic attack.
It could be worse. It could be more embarrassing. It could be just like angina.
They were like, no, Mr. Allen, it's not. You're not having a heart attack. I'm like... No, it's a panic attack.
You know that we do a lot of stuff to ourselves. So say that you start developing a fear of going to the dentist. So you don't go to the dentist. But by you not going to the dentist can actually cause you having to go to the dentist more times in your life.
Correct.
So sometimes you have to be like, I have to face the fear.
And that's what I was trying to do. Yes, I couldn't work out what had triggered me.
Yeah.
What had set me off on the spiral downwards, where normally it's quite, you've had an argument with someone or you've woke up brain fog and you petered. So it was a combination of lots of different things, and to try and unravel to get to the hook that could pull me out, until you work out what was the thing that set you off, it was very difficult to work it out. Eventually I got there, and the way I used it was to go to the gym, train enough to release the endorphins to settle a bit of the mind fog, to think a little bit straighter. Then I was like, that's probably what set me off today. And then thinking, trying to use, even though it was a negative, to try and see a positive that could come out. And this morning, by the negative, there was a positive this morning that someone's like, okay, look, Scott, we will sponsor your thing because you reached out at the right time. But it was only because I cleared the fog out of my head that gave me, and now obviously I've got a positive, which is giving me the good start to the day.
Do you know a weird thing is with that sentence when you were talking? When I was younger and people were talking about endorphins, I thought they were letting out dolphins. They're like, we just have to let out the dolphins. I was like, where from? SeaWorld?
I'm going to the gym to let out the dolphins.
They've got dolphins at the gym? I didn't know this.
It's great.
Sometimes you don't hear
coffee
stuff
gives
properly.
you dolphins.
Yeah. Maybe it does. Wait, we all have a dolphin, don't we? Though dolphins actually kill sharks. This is a different conversation. So
how have you been, though?
Oh,
because we never really get to you.
You never really asked me.
I thought about this the other day. I was like, we always go about mine, but we never ask you about yours
because yours is always worse.
No.
I don't have as much things to worry about. My life. I don't have a crazy, past.
Past. I thought you meant. I was about to say crazy life. You definitely have.
Oh no. Yeah, but one thing at a time. You know what I mean? I can scale up these things all the time. One of my main things I try to do is, if I think about it, I do it then. So if I got to unload a dishwasher, I'm like, I'll do it later. Well, if I have to think about that again, I'm wasting my time. So if I just think, I need to unload the dishwasher, and I just do it then, guess what? I don't. For the rest of the day, I don't have to think about that. And a lot of the times, people are just adding things all the time. If I say, I need to change the bed. If I do and think about that one more time, it's like a waste. Why don't I need to change the bed? And I'll be like, done. Or just have a day that I'm doing it. And so I had to call up my insurance company because I hurt my knee and stuff like that. And I was only supposed to have 4 sessions. And I was leading on to the 5th. And they're like, if you go over, you need to do this. I was like, oh, God, I don't want to have to call them. I'm going to call them. And I thought about it twice. And I was just like, I am wasting time. Just call them. Find out what I need to do and do it.
That's not a bad way of doing it.
That's the only way, because what we do is we have everything build up, and that's what causes everyone else is kind of like, I don't want that. I think about it once and I do it. Most of the time. Do I do it every single time? Of course not. But I try not to overthink these things because I want things taken off my list. I write a list down of what I need to do that day, and I just cross them off. And I try not to let people down, but I do let people down because I'm also doing loads of different stuff. I let you down sometimes because I'm working. I've got something I have to do instead of, and I've got to be here, there, blah, blah, blah. But for me, is trying to limit those situations because I know what makes you crazy. I know what makes you feel unstable. And so I make sure that those things don't happen. And I think people, discipline-wise, find it hard because other things get in their way. You've got kids, you've got an ex, you've got, just worries, you've got stuff like that. At this precise moment, I actually don't have any worries. And it sounds terrible to say, but actually I'm like, no, I'm going to embrace that. Why wouldn't I go, I'm okay, because maybe next week I do, and I should have just enjoyed having no worries.
And that's the bit I was basically saying to the guy that I was helping last night is, I know the dark times means there's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And the good times mean so much more when you've had a dark time, if that kind of makes sense.
I'm going to say, Bob Marley was right.
Bob Marley was right?
Yep.
Go on.
Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. It's true.
Not a bad way. So anyway, we're going off.
We've got a guest.
We have a guest.
They're not invisible. They are actually sat on the sofa in the green room, which is in the same room.
But it's a green room in the...
Well, there's greenery in the green room, and Should we stop talking?
Should we just invite him on?
Yeah. Please come on down. This is what we're doing. We should have some music here. Do. Oh, a round of applause as well. There we go. Here we go.
Thank you very much.
There we go. He's got his microphone ready. His headphones are set. He's dressed well. This is the first entrance we've had. That must mean you're quite special.
You're the first one of this way of doing it.
Wow, thank you. It's, don't know what to say, but thank you.
So tell us all about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I'm 27 years old.
Okay, this is not Tinder. What's going
I
on?
know, yeah. Quite a little bio. There we go. Most people probably swipe left anyway.
You went for age before name, which is that's fun.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I'd leave it a bit of a mystery.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But yeah, no, I'm Jack. I'm from Bracknell, and I currently work in like a commercial gym, PTing a lot of people. But I've always been involved in sort of the industry of mental health. I used to sort of train the patients at Broadmoor Hospital as well. I was there for 3 years.
Wow.
So yeah, a big insight into sort of the real extreme side of mental health that I think the average person doesn't really know a lot about. They think they have an opinion on it, but their opinion's most of the time probably wrong because the average person doesn't go into to work in these places. So that was a big eye opener working there. But I've always been training people. I've always been in the gym. I've always been pushing myself physically and mentally. And I've always, you know, I know what it feels to go through some horrible stuff, you know, and to conquer certain adversities and stuff like that. So that's what I always try and do is make people feel that it's, like you said, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be fine.
Bob Marley was right.
There we go. I won't sing because I'm bad at singing, but there we go. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, oh my God, there's a lot going on there. I mean, when did you first, for you, get into the gym? How old were you when you first sort of found the gym?
I think I was about 18. Yeah, and I don't know, I just felt quite numb, like mentally. I didn't know at the time I was probably a bit down. I was too young. It wasn't, when I was 18, almost like 10 years ago, like mental health was about, but it wasn't as exposed as it is now, if that makes sense.
It's not the norm.
It wasn't the norm then. And at 18, I was like, well, I don't know if I'm down or depressed or just a bit bored. I didn't know.
You're probably all of those.
Probably all of them, you know. And now, so I went straight into the gym, started training, and then within 2-3 months, my mood completely lifted. And I haven't really looked back, to be fair. I think I've been training so regularly that if I was to stop for a couple of days, I just feel horrible.
I get that feeling.
Yeah.
What did you do through COVID?
So I still worked actually because we was under the NHS. So my job changed a lot. Obviously, it wasn't as bad as the nurses in, you know, all the other hospitals, but it was pretty, you know, it's pretty strenuous. I mean, my gym at Broadmoor was closed down because the staff and the nurses were basically catching COVID, so they couldn't come into work. So then I almost felt like a nurse sometimes, you know. I didn't dress up as one, but you know,
can find those on
yeah, I mean, you know,
somewhere,
$5.99, and but no, so my gym was sorry,
That's Scott gone. He knew.
it's gone.
It's how casual we did it.
Jack got how much it was straight away as well. Straight away.
I know. I got to earn a few quid. But yeah, so my gym at Broadmoor was closed down. We had to help out the staff on the wards, and you know they were long days. There was sometimes like 14-hour days, and you wouldn't get a break. It was like, can I go on my break? It's like, well, no, you're the only male on the ward. You can't leave. Oh, okay. And it was because you had to be at least one male on the ward at Broadmoor. So if you're the only male there, you look around and go, yeah, I'm not getting a break.
Oh,
Here we go. Yep, 4 days on the trot. But I mean, look, a lot of people went through that sort of stuff. I wasn't the only one. It was tough. But during COVID, working in Broadmoor, it was you're either catching COVID or you're catching a left hook off a patient because they were getting really sort of stressed out. And I get that because some of the patients at Broadmoor do have like, you know, paranoia, like huge levels of paranoia. And if you're wearing a mask and you start having a laugh and a joke with your colleague about anything, they can't see what you're talking about. And you might glance at them once, as we do as someone walks down the street, have a quick glance, and then, you know, before you know it, you're restraining someone or you're getting started on. So it was a tough time. But look, you know, we got through with it, and it went quite quick actually, looking back on it. It felt felt like a long time, but in you know, I mean, in the whole life, you know, if we get to 90 years of age, you look back at COVID and it was
A blip.
a blip, not even 1%
But at
of your
the
life.
time, it felt like a
Yeah.
lifetime.
For sure.
Everything feels like a lifetime in a moment, though.
Yeah. So, a question I have,
Mm.
obviously, I deal with certain levels of mental health and helping people, and obviously, you've gone to probably the furthest end of the spectrum, I suppose, if you want to put it in that way.
Yeah.
So, and I think when obviously people talk about mental health, that's the kind of where they think that is, as in the furthest end where you've been and bits and pieces. Because to what you've seen and to what people experience, like myself, like PTSD, what's the difference? Because that's where the stigma is. Everyone thinks when you mention mental health that far end of the spectrum, I suppose. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Because obviously you're seeing, obviously, like you said, paranoia patients. Obviously, there's lots of different levels, and there's a reason why they're in there, right?
Yeah.
You're more like a diluted version compared to what Jack.
That's
might
what
have
I'm trying to say. But the
deal
stigma
with. Not to
behind
say it
mental
makes-
health is what they're saying. What
Yeah.
the people are in Broadmoor. Oh, it's mental.
Well, that's probably what people thought about. Like, I've always had the problem with the saying mental health anyway, because that's even just saying the word mental still in our head means crazy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and
So when you
that's-
say I've got mental
yeah.
health, I'm just like, oh, you know, it's that disconnect that I sometimes feel. I always feel like it needs to be rebranded in some sort of format. Because what is going on where you worked and then what is going on in everyday life, I feel like it's two different things, but we
Correct.
call them the same.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
under the same category, right?
Yeah. For
So
sure.
obviously you can't go into too much detail,
Yeah.
I'd imagine, but what is a normal day and how would you help somebody with mental health doing the training side of it all? Because obviously I understand what it does for me, but obviously does it do anything for them?
Oh yeah, I mean, the gym at Broadmoor was considered like a luxury for the patients. They really look forward to it, and we were quite lucky in the sense that, you know, when you back at school and you have that really cool like substitute teacher that come in that everyone loves, that everyone sort of behaved for, they loved
Yeah.
them, you know, blah blah. Me and my mates, my colleagues at Broadmoor, we almost felt like those guys, because the patients knew if they treated us and, you know, and started attacking us or abusing us, stuff like that, they might not get their gym.
Right.
So we'd go onto the ward and they'd love seeing us, and we'd take them to the gym and stuff like that, and their mood would straight away would just completely lift. We train them in the gym, we push them in the gym, and, you know, we've been put in situations where if we tell a patient they can't come to the gym because your doctor said this or your nurse has said this, we've seen fights break out straight away. You can't come to the gym. If it's down to us, we'd let you in, but we're telling your doctor's saying you can't come. I'm really sorry. And then we're seeing fights just like straight away. So it was so important to them, you know, as if, you know, like we felt that having gyms taken away in lockdown, but Broadmoor's their home. That's where they live, you know, and without that, something so close to them is taken away. Yeah, obviously, like, we have to do our job at safety, but at the same time, it wasn't nice seeing, you know, a patient do that, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine, because obviously I got in lockdown. I obviously you know Sid as well,
Yeah.
and obviously Sid helped me out in the end and gave me gym equipment.
Yeah.
But before that, I was caught breaking into gyms
Yeah,
to try and get
try and train.
my fix, if you
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah,
Because I didn't understand completely. So I was self-medicating basically for doing the gym, but I'd been doing it for years, but hadn't realised what I was going through. I was doing it, but when I felt like shit, I went to the gym.
yeah,
When I had a panic attack or feel like I was going to head in that path, I'd go to the gym and stay there.
yeah.
And obviously what I now realise is it's the endorphins that kind of took the edge off it.
There's
or-
dolphins?
Or the dolphins, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Sure, yeah. Because I heard dolphins.
Endorphins.
Yeah.
Such you touch.
I've ruined that for everyone. I can't be the only person who's thought that. Come on.
No, loads of people do it. My kids got at dolphins.
Dolphins?
What, we're going to have a load of dolphins? No.
I also thought it was dolphin noir potatoes as well.
Dolphin what?
I heard dolphin noir potatoes, yeah.
It's pretty close, though.
It is quite close, yeah.
That's good. So what I hear when people talk about the gym, or when I talk about, especially in COVID, people drank more, they were sort of doing stuff. I hear this one word all the time that helped everyone's head: distraction.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of a little bit what it is? Like I use, there's a comedian, I can't remember his name, but he literally says, I went to the gym the other day, or I went for a walk with my dog, and I didn't bring my earphones. And I thought I liked listening to music, but no, I just realized I didn't like listening to my own thoughts. And I feel like when we're listening to podcasts, or when we're listening to music, and when we're going to the gym, or when we're seeing our friends, or when we're at the pub, or this is all based on trying not to think too much until we do a float tank, and then that's all I can do is think.
That was hard. Have you ever done that?
What the hell is a float tank?
So we went. It's
Honestly.
based in Pangbourne, and we had a guest in, and pretty much you go into this orb, and it's salt that it's in the water, and you just float, and they literally put the lid down.
Oh, there's little
and-
pods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they good?
It's game changing. Well,
Honestly.
it's an hour of nothing,
Yeah.
just
It's
darkness
darkness. Yeah.
and your own floaty body
Nice.
and thoughts.
But it's a Did you not find? Obviously, I know we're going back onto another.
Yeah.
Did you not find that your thoughts aren't the same as like what you just said about like walking down the road and thinking, because there was no distractions? Time. It was really weird. For me, it was
It was
I come out
designated
positive.
thinking time without distraction, and I don't know when the last time any of us had that.
I don't think we've ever been
See, I do
exposed to
some-
that, have we? Really?
No.
Not really.
Never.
There was nothing. There was a tiny bit of music at the beginning, then it stopped after 5 minutes, and then you had a choice. You could have a blue light, a sort of white light, or nothing. And me and Scott chose. We didn't do it together, but me and Scott, you can do it together.
Doesn't matter if you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
fine.
doesn't
It's
matter.
fine.
Yeah, it's
But
fine,
you can
yeah.
do it individual. And it was just pure darkness. And after I think 50 minutes of pure darkness and silence, they play the music back in, and it was just unconscious thought. It was just. Your brain went so many different places, good places, bad places, in different places, worrying about, does the oven need cleaning? It's just stupid stuff like
Just
that
let it
every
go
day.
off,
But,
It was good.
but there was
I
no
enjoyed it.
phones. There was nothing to distract you. You were just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big part of the gym for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's the dopamine hit that, why go on a podcast talking about dopamine? We've probably seen it all before, but no, it is people's dopamine hit. It's for me, obviously the gym I've been training at Body Zone. It's you go in, you see the same people all the time. Every day's the same but different, and sometimes where I don't want to train because I'm tired or I've got an injury, I walk down and I'll just sit there for 2-3 hours.
Yeah. So
And I'll just train.
it's like
and
my
talk to
pub
people,
is what
sorry.
I've always
Yeah,
called it. The
yeah.
gym is my pub, is
Yeah.
where like my dad would go after work straight to the pub,
Yeah,
and obviously have the social side of it all as
Yeah,
well. And so obviously, like when I go to the gym, we're like, "Yeah, you in at tomorrow at 8? Yeah. See you tomorrow at 8." And then it's kind of the same, roughly same kind of people that are there, and you have your banter. And
yeah, for sure.
I don't know people at the gym, and if I go consistently to the gym at a certain time, I do this now. You all right? They're like, yeah.
See, obviously you understand what I'm saying about like,
Yeah,
right. Obviously, you work.
I don't know who they are.
Everyone active, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big commercial gym.
yeah,
And Body Zone's in the same building. And Body Zone is probably a strength and bodybuilding kind of gym.
old school spit sort
Old
of
school.
gym.
But
Yeah,
you would have
yeah.
thought on paperwork should be more intimidating,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's more of a
Family.
yeah, bang on. And that's what I found.
Family.
But it is.
But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And that's not, so it's not just about the training for me, a bit like it's a distraction as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, when I go through them doors, it's about the training and having a conversation with somebody else. I haven't got to worry about bills and the weather outside and all the crap that's going on. But for the moment, pretty much most people that train with at the certain times that night,
Yeah.
I can say that it's their way of forgetting what's going on in the rest of the world. A bit like the float tank, just forget what's out
Yeah.
there.
100%.
It's about the conversation with us. We're shouting at each other across the gym, and we've got the music up, and we're just messing around and training and just taking the mick out of each other. It's like, if you wait any longer, that's going to get cobwebs on it, mate. Just stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even the young lads that now have come up through,
Yeah.
like if they, oh mate, can you come spot us? Because they realise it's an environment that's,
You're motivated by the people who were there.
yeah, look, as in, where, like you just said, you go to the gym and you go. Whereas
I
most
do-
gyms
I do it
I
to-
go to is everybody talks to everyone. All doesn't care what level you're at.
It's like a soap, isn't it? It's like EastEnders. Everyone knows everyone.
I've got a friendship with the cleaner now. I'm like, you all right?
Yeah,
and
that doesn't surprise
And do you
me.
know what's weird? Then I see them work out, so they clean the blades, and then I see them work out. I'm like, honestly, who wants to still be at work?
Did your cardio bit first. Now you're warmed up, ready to go. So, with obviously the gym and bits and pieces, what would you have done different to what you PT'd now? Obviously, Broadmoor. Obviously, I don't. Why do they have a gym and bits and pieces? What are you doing different, or what skills have you got from that normal people could use in a normal day-to-day life?
I learned that working at Broadmoor that you're sort of in touch with reality a lot more, because they don't have social media, they don't have Instagram. Some patients probably even know what it is. In all seriousness,
Oh, really?
yeah, you know, there's some patients that have been in there like 20 years. You know, and they're not exposed to that fake life. You constantly see it. You know, you're sort of surrounded by it. So you're in touch with reality all the time. We're not allowed phones in. So 14 hours a day of working, my phone's locked in a safe at reception. I can't have it, or I leave it in the car or something like that. And because there's no phones there, you have conversations. No one's scrolling. No one's sat in the ward scrolling. You know, everyone's talking to each other. And sometimes, I mean, you have some of the best sort of therapists and psychologists at Broadmoor. You know, it's an infamous hospital, but sometimes I've had patients say, well, I spoke to this member of staff, or I spoke to someone from the gym, and they actually connected with me more than my psychologist has.
Yeah.
Because we're roughly the same age. There's some young lads in there, and we have that common ground straight away. And once you have that common ground with someone going through depression, anxiety, something like that, they open up a lot more. And then the more they open up, the more you open up. And then what you do is you actually find out that you're quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
And when they find out they're quite similar to you, that's when the rapport starts, and that's when your relationship sort of grows with them. There's a few patients at Broadmoor where they've just had such a hard life, and no one understands that. They go, oh, they're all bad people. They're not. They've just been dealt the worst hand at life, and it doesn't help when you have people out there having their opinions of them. It's a weird one. I get it. People don't understand it. I really get it. You've seen the size of the walls. No one's getting in there, you know. But yeah, it's a totally different world in Broadmoor. I didn't expect it to be like that, but you know, I learn a lot from that. You know.
So the view of you had before you went in there, when you think of Broadmoor, even now, people, to me, and obviously I go through mental health, and I'm thinking that's quite a. Obviously, I know a few of you like Dave and all the other bits of pieces. So I've got a few friends that work there doing different parts of what you do, and some of the stories, and it's like I said, they've been dealt the
worst hand.
shittiest hand you could
mate,
possibly have been dealt,
horrific.
We should just feel lucky.
and that's
You know what I mean? And we take it for granted. The simplest things. No matter what relationship you have with your parents and stuff like that, if they don't just beat you or molest you, or you know what I mean, and all this sort of stuff, like, you should be like, thank you. Just thank you for just. You told me off once and I didn't like it. Thanks, though.
Oh, what I have to worry about is my
Yeah.
PTSD kicking off and panic attacks every now. But obviously, I know certain things. It's just horrendous what some of these people have been through. And
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when I was just on my induction at Broadmoor. It was like a 3-week induction, and some people close to me was like, I don't get why there's a place for these people. And it sounds awful.
Well, there wasn't, and then
yeah.
you know what I mean. Good job, there is.
There is now, you know, and these people need 24-hour care. And I said, oh yeah, but they've done some horrific things. I go, yeah, granted. But then I say to them, right, so you've known me 20 years. They go, yeah. I go, I get in a car accident and I suffer some anxiety from it. And that anxiety I don't seek help from. It gets worse. And then I get a bit PTSD. And then from that, I get anger issues. And then I don't get the right help. You can see my personality change over 6-7 months. Someone says something that triggers me, and I hospitalise them. And I can't help that. I go to prison, I become unwell in prison, I end up at Broadmoor. And then you hear all these people going, oh, he's a piece of shit, he's a monster. You've known me 20 years. You're going to defend me because you go, well, actually, he's gone through some horrific stuff. And that's what we need to understand, Don't get wrong, you get the mad, bad and sad at Broadmoor. You get some really nasty sort of characters in Broadmoor.
Mm-hmm. But they're normally made, not born.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that.
And that's the thing, that there is some pages at Broadmoor you go, whoa. And you always try your best. I didn't judge any patient there at all. You can't, because you haven't lived a day in their shoes. But like I said, going back to the scenario of someone 20 years and they blah blah, that's what it is. What it is. And it's so hard to tell people that, because they just sort of don't really. Well, yeah, but they've done this. Yeah, I know.
They have never been or seen something like that, because they live in. And I've always said this: the world lives in a giant bubble. Everyone's in their little bubbles with their own little bit of shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't. If you took all, like you said, the social media and everything away, life is a scary thing.
Yeah.
If you truly...
I mean, no scarier than it's been before in time, though. I think if you take away social media, we are probably...
No, not just social media, but I mean, as in
now.
truly what the world actually is. Everyone lives in this bubble that, it's about what we watch in EastEnders tonight. It's a whole... Do you understand?
But you say that, but if you go around the world, it's not. Like, I was just in Rome, right? Just like literally the weekend. And people just out and about, just experiencing culture that is.
Do you not think they're still privileged?
No. Every single person born now is privileged. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to be born 100, 200, 500 years ago. No freaking way. In a million years. And I've always said this, like, this is a stupid little saying that I have, but like, you wouldn't want to go to the dentist 100 years ago.
No.
They just took it. Our grandparents just had their teeth just taken out. Most of them just wore dentures. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be a woman 75 years ago. You want to be black 50 years ago. You want to be gay 20 years ago. You want to be trans 5 years ago. So that means we literally are getting closer to being, I don't know, more equal, more kind of understanding, stuff like that. Yes, but we're always kind of seeing these stuff on the news. The shootings that happen. Yeah. There's all these things happen, but there's no one's actually going, today a cat survived, or like, you had a really nice day at the park, or you know what I mean? Like, we're always looking at that thing of that one thing that happened that is bad, and then sometimes that is how we sort of have it in our mind that the world is crazy. And yeah, there's loads of bad stuff, but there's good stuff that outweighs that. We just care a lot less about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bad news always makes the news, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
They've always
you could do
always
100 good
promoted
things and one bad thing. A bit like that 20-year thing. Do you know what I mean? It's only because of the
100% that's just life, really, isn't it?
What would you say for anyone that is kind of suffering quietly right now? Their thing is not the gym. That they feel like super that intimidation of going to the gym in the first place. That you might have been out or you've never gone.
Yeah.
Being any sex in this situation. What would you say to anyone who just goes, right, I'm feeling not my best? What advice would you give?
Well, I think obviously it's going to be with me to say this because I've been training for years and I've always worked in gyms, but the gym isn't the answer to everything. A lot of people go, well, I'm depressed, I've got to go to the gym, I've got to lift weights. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, scientifically, you might feel better lifting weights and doing exercise, but sometimes instead of putting passion into things, find things that you get passion out of, because they're two different things. I could put a lot of passion into something that I don't really care about. Right, I could put a lot of passion into baking, buy all the stuff, buy all the things, buy myself a nice apron, all this sort of stuff. But if I get no feeling after seeing that cake on the oven, it's nothing. What's the point? So find something that you get passion out of rather than putting it in. And I don't care if you spend 5 years trying to find something to get passion out of it. You spend your whole life doing all these different hobbies, but when you start to find something that you can get passion out of, And for me, if you can find something that makes you itch and wants to get out of bed because you can't wait to do it, keep doing it. Keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then once you find that passion, or you find something that you can get so much passion out of, the grey days, the dark days, they'll still be there because that's life. But that dark cloud will get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then it might come out every other month or every other year. Because I'm not going to say, oh yeah, every day's unreal. It's not. It's life. But the dark days will go if you can find
That's not a bad way.
what you feel, what you know. I mean, like, one of my favourite speakers is a guy called Simon Squibb. You might know him on Instagram. He goes around with a microphone and he'll be like, oh, you know, have you ever thought about starting your own business?
Yeah.
That guy. I saw him speak in London, right? And he said, what is the purpose of life? And no one know what to say. And he said, the purpose of life is a life with purpose. And is find out what makes you tick, what makes you move. Like I said, don't put passion into everything because you might not be good at everything. No one's good at everything. Mm-hmm. Don't go to the gym because your mate's going to the gym. Yeah, try it because you might be a niche. But if your hobby is archery and you love it and you get passion out of it,
well, yeah,
dedicate your whole life to that because you never know what you can achieve in that field. You know.
I don't need to sit here anymore. We'll just have Jack instead. That was really good.
Yeah,
well, that was quite a good one. So obviously someone's going to get something from it because he's a bit dull today. Isn't he? But I have one question that I ask every single person.
Yeah.
Is mental health curable?
I think each person going through, like we said earlier, it's a big spectrum of mental health issues. You know, feeling down for a week, really down for a week, is on the same spectrum as some patients in Broadmoor. Okay, I think realistically, some people who are really badly suffering, like some of the things I've seen, if you were to see what I'd see, you go, probably not. However, I think it is absolutely possible to help people get to their certain level of maximum health. So for me, what I saw at Broadmoor, you know, if they can get, look, this guy's maximum health is not attacking anyone for 5 days a week. That is his maximum health. Mm-hmm. Then let's go for it. Let's do the best we can to get that. And if we do get that, let's try and go for the 6th day. I honestly feel people have a certain level of maximum health. But in terms of anxiety and depression and sort of the lifestyle we're used to...
It all depends on what part of the spectrum they're on, I suppose.
100%. It completely depends on what spectrum they're on. However, the life we live and the sort of in society that we know today, 100%. 100%. If we can get it in early and we can start talking about it and you start pushing yourself and you have the right people around you, 100%. Why not?
That's not a bad way of looking at that, you know.
Why not?
I never thought of it like that.
It's a good answer.
Yeah,
don't need me anymore, don't you?
But for me, like, I mean, when you are backed into a corner and you can't do anything apart from go for it, and you go for it, you'll be fine.
It's also getting sometimes with what I feel the reason why I do what I do and help them because I had nobody to help me. And just like what you said, thinking about it now, I can kind of realise what I'm doing without realising it stops them from going any further, and it is possible to get them thinking the right
100%.
things and doing the right tools because they haven't. And obviously Broadmoor, when you've got to that stage, you've kind of gone through 1, 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And it's maybe you can't go back because you've gone too far in what the world, the life, everything around you is just broken you on repair. And it's like trying to put a vase back together that's so broken.
100%. Yeah,
There's bits missing.
Yeah.
But if you can catch it, so when it's only a crack, I suppose.
Yeah.
100%. So I actually changed my opinion. Listen to what you just said. I changed my. I think it would depend when you catch it.
100%. I honestly
You could
like.
cure it.
Yeah, I think you have to push yourself because you'll be amazed what you can do. Last July, me and a friend, we done a run for charity, for the Calm charity.
Mm-hmm.
We ran for 24 hours up and down Mount Snowdon, up and down continuously for 24 hours. It was the worst thing I've ever done. It was all documented on my Instagram. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And 25 miles in, my left knee just completely exploded. Like, it was just ballooned up. But that ain't good. Red Bull, bit of paracetamol, bit of ibuprofen, bosh, let's go. I ran another 26 miles, and then I got my knee scanned a few days later. I tore my meniscus. I ran 26 miles on a torn meniscus. And all because at that time I said, just keep going, mate. Don't quit.
Mind
one
over
foot,
matter.
yeah, one foot in front of the other. And then from that, every year I've said, I want to do something bigger than that for charity, for mental health charity. So this year, next month, I'm running for 2 days, across 2 days. I'm doing the David Goggins 4x4x48 in the 27th and 28th. So it's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I'm doing that next May, 27th, 28th of May. And again, we're raising money for a mental health charity with Frank Bruno, who basically raises a lot of money and delivers boxing classes, non-contact boxing stuff for kids obviously going through like depression, anxiety, stuff like that. It's a place for them to go. So we're raising money for them. So my link's on my Instagram. If you can't donate, I get it. Share it, whatever. But every year we're going to do something bigger and better. If we have to up the race by 24 hours, we will. Last year was 24. This year's 48.
Scott, are you joining that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could run for 24 minutes, let alone 24 hours, let alone 48.
Well, you're not. Well, you're doing. So how far are you running? 'Cause the David Goggins thing, I saw this anyway. So
it's 48 miles in total. But
Yeah.
obviously, as the hours as you creep into the hours of the task, the challenge, obviously lack of sleep, stuff like that, creep in.
Is that getting up, isn't it? If you time it right of where you have to get up, you can do it.
So
Yeah,
you
you can,
run
yeah.
4 miles, then
So say like if I start
Every
at 8,
4 hours.
so say like if I started at 8 in the morning, I run 4 miles. Say like if, for argument's sake, it takes me 40 minutes. I come back in at 8:40. No matter how long that 4 miles takes me, my next one's at 12.
And then 4.
So I don't
And
rest for
then
4 hours.
so you're not even getting like an 8 hour sleep thing.
No,
with
no,
a
no,
recharge
no,
and-
No. So
well,
yeah,
normally they would
Not
be,
yet.
but because it's only supposed to be 24 hours, but you're doing 48.
48. Yeah. So
Wow.
So like I said, it's
It's a discipline of itself, isn't
yeah,
it? really?
we're going to push ourselves, you know. And the buzz I got from doing the 24-hour ultra last, don't get me wrong, there's people out there who are crazy, you know. They do like 5 Ironmans in a row. There's some serious people out there.
The only competition is between you and yourself.
He knows, and he's
What
definitely
am I
got that above
needed
his bed
for?
on a poster.
I don't need a beer anymore.
yeah. But yeah, no. So that's what it is, and the feeling I got from completing that run with my friend, the 24-hour run, I just thought, I can't believe I've done that. The
Mate,
buzz
you're
I got
making
from
my
doing
knee
that.
hurt. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I just feel tired already.
Yeah, honestly, like and when we run, I'm gonna put some videos up, some messages for people going through some sort of tough times, and just say, look, you know, I'm not saying go out and run for 48 hours, but I'm just saying push yourself, because you'll be amazed what you can do, physically and mentally. And like you said, when you are backed into a corner, when you got loads of people watching you and have donated, and you are backed into one, and you got no other way but to succeed and to do it, most of the time you'll be
It
fine.
is mind. You can do
100%.
anything if you really, truly want to.
100%.
Anything. Where can people find you? You already said Instagram, but what is your Instagram handle?
So it's Jack_Pitcher_. I follow the podcast, so
Yeah,
if
so their
anyone-
own open doors over mine. If you want to go on the Instagram, you'll see them on there as well. So you'll be able to find them that way around as well.
I feel like we'll
Sure.
have to retweet like all the
Of course
stuff.
we are.
Like,
We're going to
like
have to now,
remessages and stuff
obviously,
like that, yeah.
as he's doing the event, we're going to
Yeah.
get him to send us pictures and we'll post it up on
Sure,
ours as
it'd
well.
be good. But in general, obviously, anyone who is going through some tough times, like I said, all the challenges I've done, my DMs are always open. So yeah.
Incredible. What a great guest. I think we definitely have to get you back, especially probably
love to.
after you've done this day.
We'll
I
literally do it about 10 minutes after he finishes the 48 hours and see what state he's in.
Yeah, you're right, guys.
Don't do it.
Wheel myself in and everything. Right, boys.
Oh, it went that well. Okay, fair enough.
But yeah,
Fantastic.
no, I'd love to come back. It's been
100%.
good, so.
I think that's definitely because obviously there's bigger challenges. Obviously, by the sounds of it, it'll be 72 hours next year.
Who knows? There is one. I don't know if you heard of the Marathon des Sables. Has anyone heard?
Yeah.
No.
I want to do that before I'm 30. That's the next one.
How many marathons is it?
It's 6 marathons
Yeah.
in 6 days across the Moroccan desert.
Are you what?
You're
I'd love
saying
to
that,
do
but then
yeah.
Eddie, what did Eddie Izzard do? He did like 31
Yeah.
of those stupid back-to-back
What?
marathons.
Marathons.
As in full marathon, the
Yeah,
26.
full marathons,
Yeah.
across
Wow.
the desert.
You
so-
should have seen his feet.
Yeah, they're grim. Yeah, they look like
Yeah.
blocks of spam. Yeah.
So true. A question that we do ask just before as well. Scott, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being absolutely amazing, 0 being the worst you've ever felt, where are you today on your mental health scale?
4 or 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah,
Okay.
4 or 5. Yeah.
Is that better than yesterday?
Yeah, I was pretty much at probably a 1 yesterday.
Okay, cool. What about you there, Jack? What are you feeling?
5.
5?
5.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
Most of the time, on average, I'm 5.
Well, that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Go on, then, where are you at?
Well, Mr. Luke, you're producing. Can you do it with fingers? What are you feeling? An 8. Oh,
You want
he's
a big
on
man?
it. It's fine.
Is that because of a certain thing that's happening Friday?
What's happening Friday? Oh, we'll talk about it later. Wow. Is it a date?
Well, he's asked me where the tan
Is it
shop.
a date? Oh, okay.
He's asked me where the tan shop was.
Oh, I see. I would say like 7. Yeah, got a good day planned. Got some nice stuff happening. What's good?
How are you? Right, just stop you there, because most weeks you're roughly between a 5 and a 7, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it? I know obviously part of how you do it is you just get it done, and because I've never seen you below
I don't have a real job. I feel
you
like
go.
did
Yeah,
it,
you
but I
do,
don't.
though.
But I don't have the. Yeah, but yeah, it's true. I don't
it's
know.
more stressful doing some of the stuff that you've told me you're doing, and up here 1 minute, then over there, and
Because I know what actual stress is, and this is not it. So I've already gone. You know, when you're like stuck in the middle of the sea with just like a boat that's deflating, you're like, well, this is the end. I've already gone past that, gone back to the island, actually eating now like pineapples, and just like, do you remember what happened then? Like, nah. Pineapple's nice. So right now I'm eating pineapple.
okay.
That's where I am.
And you probably don't support Tottenham Hotspur either.
God, we're gonna get so much hate. I'm so sorry, Spurs fans. I'm not.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
fine.
no, it's just,
Man United, Arsenal fan doesn't care.
I think you
Yeah.
should just keep giving it to Tottenham because most of my mates are
they
Spurs
Spursies?
fans. Oh yeah, yeah.
so
It's yeah.
Well, if you do want to talk about anything football, you can go to my new podcast. It's called Sensible Football Talk. It's going to be out every week with me and Mr. Luke, who's producing right now. Scott, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what number this is, but it's just thanks for watching.
We don't need to do numbers anymore.
Subscribe.
We just got that far. We're that good.
with that, just
Yeah.
get it out there, done.
But obviously, listen out, guys. Obviously, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We should have probably done this at the very beginning, but
They've already stopped watching now. They've already started.
yeah,
football
Kai,
and
when you
football,
come to
check it out.
edit this, can you just cut this clip out and put it at the very beginning about subscribe, please? If you want to sponsor, it's all going to very good causes and everything like that. And also, we'll have all the sponsorship forms, everything like that. We'll put that into this, and you can also find him through Open Doors, Open Mind, and we will be having him back to find out how we got on. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.